There are people who still think that semen retention is just an internet fad, that it's crazy talk or something for spiritual virgins. But the truth, which few have the courage to say, is that there is a force behind semen retention that transforms a man's life in ways he never imagined. It's not just about holding back desire. It's about opening the door to blessings that come when you align your energy with what really matters. Have you ever noticed that there are men who seem to have a different aura? That they don't need to shout to be heard, that they attract opportunities effortlessly, that they have peace even in the midst of chaos? They don't have a secret power. They simply understood something that most people don't. When you keep your essence, the universe begins to conspire in your favor. And when you stop seeking immediate pleasure, something sacred begins to seek you out. The crazy part is that these blessings don't come when you want them. They come when you least expect them. A contract that comes out of nowhere. A person who helps you when you're lost. An idea that changes your life. It seems like a coincidence, but you know it's not. They're spiritual rewards for choosing the harder, nobler, and rarer path. And it all starts with the decision to respect yourself. But don't worry, this isn't cheap mystical talk. Here you will understand what is behind semen retention with depth, clarity, and, most importantly, with purpose. Because from the moment you understand what is behind semen retention, why, theosit becomes a matter of time. And what starts as an effort becomes a lifestyle. A lifestyle that takes you away from chaos and brings you closer to what really matters. If you've come this far, it's because something inside you has already awakened. And from now on, your vision of energy, spirituality, and purpose will never be the same again. Semen retention as a spiritual discipline. Semen retention is not just a physical issue. It goes far beyond that. It is a spiritual practice, a silent commitment that man makes to himself and to the universe. When someone chooses to save his vital energy, he is saying to the world, I respect myself. I choose to grow. Many embark on this path seeking external benefits, such as more energy or attraction. But the true treasures are only revealed to those who persist for a greater purpose, the discipline of the soul. And this is the turning point. It is easy to fall into the temptation of practicing semen retention just to impress or conquer. But this superficial motivation soon vanishes, like smoke in the wind. True power arises when you choose this path even when no one is watching. This is when the practice becomes an intimate vow of evolution. The man who practices retention out of self-love, for his mission, for connection with the divine, this man transforms. Not because the world demanded it, but because he decided to be different from the world. Imagine the monk who meditates in silence for years. No one sees him, no one applauds him, but the brilliance of his soul echoes. Semen retention is like that journey, lonely but profoundly rich. And in today's fast-paced, distracted world, finding a man who saves his semen out of self-respect is like finding spiritual gold. Discipline shapes character. It's like carving one's essence with patience and integrity. He who endures the fire becomes a diamond. In practice, retention starts with simple decisions. For example, avoiding visual triggers, controlling social media usage, and directing desire towards something constructive, such as learning a new skill, training your body, or delving into books like The Power of Now, the Eckhart Tolle, or Self-Control by Emmett Fox. Life changes when you trade immediate pleasure for higher goals. And this is reflected in everything. In your eyes, in your posture, in your speech. Interestingly, those who persist the most on this journey report a spiritual clarity they didn't have before. Prayers gain strength. Intuitions become clearer. And even without asking, things start to happen. As if the universe were saying, now you are ready. And it is precisely in this high vibration that the most unexpected blessings begin to appear. Spiritual alignment and unexpected blessings. There is a phrase in the Bible that seems to have been written specifically for those who practice semen retention. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added to you. When a man decides to align himself spiritually, something changes in his frequency. He stops running after blessings and starts being followed by them. It's as if life, once so heavy and full of obstacles, began to open invisible paths. The secret is to prioritize what is invisible, but eternal. Many men report amazing changes after just a few weeks of sincere retention. And we're not talking about magic, but about alignment. Suddenly, a new job opportunity presents itself. A healthy relationship begins to blossom. A long-standing emotional issue simply dissolves. Coincidence? Maybe. But too much coincidence becomes a pattern. And that pattern points in one direction. Heaven responds when you honor your essence. Semen retention, when practiced with purity of intention, seems to clear the channels through which grace flows. And that's where the secret that few tell comes in. It's not retention that brings blessings, it's the inner transformation it causes. When you stop seeking external validation and start cultivating presence, the world changes without you having to control anything. Prayer intensifies, silence becomes powerful, and connection with the higher self becomes clearer. If you are a man looking for more energy, focus, and self-control, I have prepared a powerful ebook that will show you how semen retention can transform your life. Link in the first pinned comment. Practical example. Instead of asking for things in prayer, start being thankful for what you are becoming. Instead of looking for a girlfriend who completes you, work on becoming a complete man. This simple inversion of logic changes everything. Because those who plant a purpose reap the reward. And this reward comes in ways that are impossible to predict. A sudden emotional healing, reconciliation with a family member, or even a prophetic dream that reveals the next step. But of course, with so much accumulated energy, a natural question arises. What to do with all this strength? It cannot remain stagnant, otherwise it will turn into tension, frustration, anxiety. That's where the next key comes in, which few know how to use correctly. It's called transmutation. And when you learn to direct this creative force towards something greater, everything takes on a new meaning. Energy transmutation. One of the greatest discoveries a man can make when practicing semen retention is realizing that he is dealing with a raw, intense, and powerful energy. This force, when not channeled, can turn into anxiety, insomnia, or even destructive impulses. But when it is transmuted, it becomes creativity, focus, leadership, magnetism. It is like a river. If you do not direct the flow, it overflows and causes havoc. But with discipline, it becomes a source of life and abundance. The ancient martial arts masters already taught this. They did not resist the enemy's force, they redirected it. The same thing happens with sexual energy. The idea is not to fight against desire, but to transform it. When the urge strikes, instead of giving in, the wise man breathes, meditates, writes, trains, creates. It is like taking raw fire and forging a sword. This is the art of transmutation. And only those who truly practice it understand the power it has. To get started, you don't need anything mystical. Just attitude. If you feel the urge, get up and go for a run. Grab a notebook and write down your plans for the next few months. Say a deep prayer or play an instrument. Energy needs a destination. It could be a personal project, a business, a social cause. It could be learning something new, like programming, gardening, or playing the guitar. Physical action with spiritual intention is the channel for transmutation. A good example is Nikola Tesla. Many historians believe that he was celibate and used this energy to fuel his genius. It is no coincidence that men who guard their sexual essence achieve high levels of productivity and intuition. Not by magic, but because of the clarity that comes when energy rises from the base of the spine to the top of the mind. This is real alchemy. Transmutation is the path of the inner warrior. And as man learns to deal with this creative force, he begins to realize that life follows certain rhythms, certain cycles. Not everything happens in a linear fashion. Sometimes growth seems slow, but it is happening in a profound way. This is where some powerful metaphors come in, which help us better understand the process. Metaphors and analogies. Sometimes the mind needs images to understand what the soul already knows. Semen retention, for example, can be compared to a racetrack. God places fences on the sides not to limit, but to protect. The man who accepts this discipline walks within an invisible track where progress is inevitable. He may not see the destination yet, but he trusts the route. And those who trust the process get where many give up halfway. Life is not a straight line. It is a cycle, like the seasons. There are times to plant, to water, to wait, to harvest. Semen retention teaches this in practice. You plant self-control today and you harvest clarity tomorrow. You plant silence today and you harvest intuition tomorrow. And just as the farmer does not pull the plant to make it grow faster, the wise man does not rush the process. He trusts, he cares. Another simple example is that of building a building. Before the building can go up, the ground needs to be dug deep. And it is exactly the same with personal growth. When life seems to be falling apart, it may just be digging space for a stronger foundation. Retention is that foundation, invisible to those looking from the outside, but essential to sustaining the upper floors of your evolution. And let's not forget the financial analogy. Storing semen is like saving money. At first, it may seem like little, but with consistency, the reserve grows. And suddenly, you have emotional, spiritual, and even social credit. People trust you more, your presence is worth more, your words carry more weight. It's as if life considers you a good investor, someone who knows how to value what is rare. And sexual energy is liquid gold. Finally, think of a tree. It doesn't bear fruit the day after it's planted. It needs time, fertile soil, light, care, and patience. Semen retention works the same way. The fruits come, and when they do, they are sweet and abundant. But between the seed and the fruit, there is a journey. And those who stay firm on this journey soon realize that something begins to shine inside, and also outside. Growth, like growing plants or money, requires patience, nurturing, and care. Growing spiritually, emotionally, or physically is like cultivating a rare plant. You don't just throw the seed in the ground and start expecting results. There is a right time for everything. In semen retention, this time is even more precious, because each day counts as a drop of accumulated energy. But if there is no patience, everything is lost. It is like pulling up the plant before seeing the first bud. Those who understand this will blossom on the inside before blossoming on the outside. What I'm explaining here is much more detailed in my ebook The Power of Semen Retention. There is a simple step-by-step guide for you to apply in your daily life. It is very worthwhile. Nutrition, in this context, goes beyond physical food. It is about what you consume with your eyes, with your ears, with your heart. If a man saves his energy, but feeds himself with toxic content, negative environments, and empty people, he is watering the plant with poison. Care is daily. This includes uplifting reading, living with wise people, inner silence, and even conscious physical activities, such as yoga or martial arts. All of this nourishes. Money also follows this same principle. Saving money requires patience and a long-term vision. So does semen retention. Both require a mindset of abundance, not scarcity. You don't save for fear of losing it. You save because you know that, in due time, you will have the power to choose the best moment to invest. The man who understands this stops being a slave to immediacy and becomes a master of solid construction. Of course, not every day will be inspiring. There will be days when you feel like giving up. But it is precisely on those days that true growth happens. It is when you do not feel motivated and still persist that the root grows deeper. It is invisible, but it is real. And this root is what will sustain the fruits in the future. Semen retention, in this sense, is not a technique. It is a lifestyle based on respect and long-term vision. Over time, people begin to realize that transformation does not come from euphoria, but from constancy. What seemed difficult before becomes natural. What was a struggle becomes fluid. And all of this happens silently, like the growth of a tree at night. But there is something that draws attention to this process. The more you align with your essence, the more life begins to give you signs, rewards, and blessings that no one expects. Now that you understand all of this, the question remains, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Are you going to let it pass by like just another video, or are you going to put it into practice and transform your reality once and for all? Semen retention is not about holding something back, it is about activating everything that was dormant inside you. And only those who have experienced it understand the silent power it carries. Are you willing to get out of automatic mode and take control of your energy? Are you ready to see your life change, not by miracle, but as a consequence of your choices? Because the truth is this, while most people are distracted, you now have a key in your hands. The key that separates ordinary people from those who have awakened. And once you start, there is no turning back. There is only evolution. So tell me, what have you felt differently since you started this practice? Any blessings that came out of nowhere? Any spiritual clarity that previously seemed impossible? Write here in the comments, because your experience may awaken another brother who is still lost. And if this video made sense to you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. Here you will continue to learn, grow, and become stronger. It's not about perfection. It's about intention. It's about walking, making mistakes, getting up, but never turning back. Semen retention is the guiding thread of a new life. And if you've come this far, it's because you're ready. Ready to reap the blessings that are already waiting for you, as long as you have the courage to continue. Don't put it off. Click on the first pinned comment, buy the ebook and start changing your energy, your mind and your life today.